I always thought my life with Clara was a masterpiece, painted with the vibrant hues of trust and love. We'd been married for 12 years, our home in suburban Connecticut a canvas of shared dreams. Her pottery studio in the garage, my law office downtown. Clara's laughter, bright and unfiltered, was the soundtrack of my mornings. She'd kiss me goodbye, her hazel eyes sparkling, before I left for work. Our daughter, Lily, 8 and precocious, tied us together like a perfect knot. But masterpieces can hide cracks. It started with small things. Clara's phone buzzing at odd hours, her sudden need for alone time at the pottery will late into the night. I dismissed it as her artist's soul needing space. I was busy too, cases piling up, late nights at the firm. I didn't see the fracture widening. One evening, I came home early, arms full of takeout, expecting a family night. The house was quiet, Lily at a sleepover. Clara wasn't in the kitchen or her studio. I found her upstairs on our bed, typing furiously on her phone, her face flushed. "Just a friend," she said, locking the screen. Her smile was too quick, too sharp. I nodded, but something cold settled in my chest. That night, I couldn't sleep, her phone's glow haunting me. I began to notice patterns, her girls' nights that left no trace of wine or laughter, her new perfume musky and unfamiliar. I told myself I was paranoid, but the seed of doubt had taken root. I loved her too much to confront her, too afraid of what I'd find. Instead, I watched and the fracture grew. The next month, I became a detective in my own life. Clara's absences grew bolder, weekend art retreats with vague itineraries, her phone now password protected. I'd never been the type to snoop, but love makes you desperate. One night, while she showered, I grabbed her phone. My hands shook as I tried old passwords. Lily's birthday, our anniversary. Nothing worked. I felt like a thief, but I couldn't stop. I started checking her pottery studio, rifling through glaze-stained sketchbooks for clues. Nothing. Then I found it. A receipt tucked in her coat pocket. A dinner for 2 at La Bellevue, a restaurant we'd never visited together. The date was a Wednesday, a night she'd claimed to be at book club. My stomach churned. I confronted her that night, holding the receipt like evidence. "Who were you with?" I asked, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Clara's eyes widened, then softened. "A client," she said. "He's buying a custom piece." Her lie was smooth, but I saw her fingers twist the hem of her sweater, a tell she'd had since college. I wanted to believe her, but the shadow of truth loomed. I hired a private investigator the next day, a grizzled man named Paul who smelled of stale coffee. "Give me a week," he said. I nodded, hating myself for it. Each day, I kissed Clara goodbye, my lips tasting betrayal. I wondered who he was, this man stealing my life. The wait was agony. Every smile from Clara a dagger. Paul called me on a rainy Tuesday, his voice gruff. "Meet me at the diner on Elm Street. Got something." I left the office early, my heart pounding as I drove through the downpour. Paul slid a manila envelope across the table, his eyes avoiding mine. Inside were photos. Clara, radiant in a red dress, laughing with a man at La Bellevue. His hand rested on hers, intimate, possessive. Another shot showed them in a park, her head on his shoulder. His face was clear. Sharp jaw, dark hair, a smug grin. I recognized him instantly, Mark Hensley, her high school sweetheart, now a real estate developer in town. They'd reconnected at a gallery event months ago, she'd said. "Just old friends," she'd promised. The photos told a different story. Paul's report detailed motel visits, late-night texts, a hidden email account. My world tilted. I drove home in a daze, the rain blurring my vision. Clara was in the kitchen, humming, chopping vegetables. "You're early," she said, her smile a lie. I wanted to scream, to shatter her facade, but Lily ran in, hugging me. I swallowed my rage, nodding through dinner. That night, I lay beside Clara, her warmth a mockery. I thought of Mark's hand on hers, their stolen moments. Betrayal wasn't just the act. It was the secrecy, the ease of her lies. I couldn't confront her yet. I needed a plan. Revenge began to form not as violence, but as something sharper, colder. I'd make her feel the weight of her deception. I spent days in a fog, functioning on autopilot, court hearings, bedtime stories with Lily, fake smiles for Clara. Inside, I was architecting her downfall. Revenge, I decided, would be surgical, exposing her to the world she'd betrayed. I dug deeper, using my legal connections to access Mark's life. He was married, too, with 2 kids, his wife a polished socialite named Vanessa. Their marriage, I learned, was a public performance, charity galas, Instagram perfection. I wondered if Vanessa knew. I tracked Clara's movements, noting her art retreats, aligned with Mark's business trips. Paul kept tabs, feeding me updates. A hotel in Hartford, a cabin rental. Each detail fueled my resolve. I began collecting evidence, screenshots of their emails, bank statements showing Clara's supply purchases that matched hotel dates. I didn't want to just confront her. I wanted to unravel her world. I contacted Vanessa anonymously, sending a single photo of Clara and Mark. No note. Let her stew, I thought. Meanwhile, I planned a public reckoning. Clara's pottery was gaining local fame. She'd been invited to showcase at the town's art festival, a glittering event. I saw my chance. I'd expose her there, in front of her admirers, her lies laid bare. I hired a tech expert to hack her hidden email, pulling love letters dripping with promises she'd never kept with me. I felt no guilt, her betrayal had killed that. Each night, I kissed her goodnight, my heart a furnace of vengeance. The art festival was a week away, and I played my role perfectly. Doting husband, proud of Clara's talent. She was radiant, oblivious, showing me her latest vases, their curves mocking my pain. "You'll be there, right?" she asked, eyes searching mine. "Wouldn't miss it," I said, my smile ablaze. Behind the scenes, I finalized my plan. The tech expert delivered a file. Hundreds of emails between Clara and Mark, some tender, others brazen, planning a future without me. I printed the most damning ones, designing a display to project them at the festival. I coordinated with Paul to ensure Vanessa attended, her presence a silent bomb. I even tipped off a local blogger, framing it as a scandal in the art world. Every detail was meticulous, my legal mind sharpened by betrayal. At home, Clara grew careless, leaving her phone unlocked once. I found texts from Mark. "Can't wait to hold you." I felt sick but copied them. Lily's laughter kept me grounded. I'd shield her from this, somehow. The night before the festival, Clara kissed me deeply, whispering, "I love you." I froze, her words a cruel echo. I lay awake, imagining the festival. Her shock, the crowd's whispers, Vanessa's rage. Revenge wasn't joy. It was necessity. I'd loved Clara with everything, and she'd chosen Mark. Tomorrow, I'd reclaim my dignity, even if it burned our world down. The storm was coming, and I was its architect. The morning of the art festival dawned crisp, the town square buzzing with vendors, musicians, and families. Clara was a whirlwind, setting up her booth with delicate pottery pieces glinting under the sun. She wore a flowing green dress, her hair loose, radiating the charm that had once captivated me. I helped carry crates, my hands steady despite the storm brewing inside. "You're my rock," she said, squeezing my arm. I smiled, the weight of my plan pressing against my chest. The festival was perfect. Hundreds of locals, art critics, and Clara's admirers milled about. I spotted Vanessa in the crowd, her face tight, clutching a program. Paul had confirmed she'd received my anonymous photo. Her presence was a ticking clock. I'd arranged for a large screen near Clara's booth, supposedly for an artist's spotlight. My tech expert was ready to project the emails at my signal. I mingled, shaking hands, playing the proud husband, while my heart pounded. Lily was with my sister, safe from the chaos I'd unleash. Clara's booth drew a crowd, her laughter mingling with compliments. I saw Mark arrive, lingering at a distance, his eyes on her. My blood boiled, but I stayed calm, nodding at him like a stranger. The blogger I'd tipped off hovered nearby, her phone ready. Every piece was in place. I felt like a conductor, the orchestra of revenge tuned to my command. Clara called me over, showing off a vase to a buyer. "Isn't my husband the best?" she said. I nodded, my throat tight. The moment was close, and I braced for impact. By noon, the festival was in full swing, the air thick with the scent of kettle corn and anticipation. Clara's booth was a magnet, her charisma drawing gasps over her work. I stood nearby, my phone buzzing with a text from my tech expert. "Ready when you are." I glanced at Vanessa, now closer, her eyes locked on Clara with a predator's focus. Mark lingered at a coffee stand, oblivious. I gave the signal. The screen flickered to life, and the crowd turned, expecting an artist's bio. Instead, Clara's emails with Mark filled the display. Bold, intimate words. "I can't stop thinking of you. When can we leave them?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. Clara froze, her smile collapsing as she read her own betrayal. "What?" she whispered, her eyes darting to me. I met her gaze, unflinching. Vanessa pushed forward, her voice cutting through the murmurs. "You're the one, with my husband." The crowd parted, staring. Clara's face drained of color as she stammered, "It's not. It's a mistake." But the emails kept scrolling, undeniable. Mark tried to slip away, but the blogger cornered him, her phone recording. Whispers turned to shouts, Clara's admirers recoiling. I stepped back, letting the chaos unfold. Clara's eyes found mine, pleading, but I felt nothing but cold resolve. The festival, her stage, had become her scaffold. Vanessa's accusations grew louder, drawing more eyes. Clara's pottery, once revered, now seemed tainted, her booth a crime scene. I'd exposed her, and the town would never forget. Clara fled the booth, her green dress a blur as she pushed through the crowd. I didn't follow. The screen looped the emails until someone unplugged it, but the damage was done. Whispers followed me as I left the festival, the blogger's post already viral on local social media. I drove home, the silence deafening. Clara's car was in the driveway, but the house felt empty. I found her in the bedroom, sobbing, surrounded by shattered pottery. "Why?" she choked out, seeing me. "Why humiliate me like that?" I stood in the doorway, my voice steady. "You humiliated me first. With Mark." She didn't deny it, her tears confirming everything. I told her I'd known for weeks, that her lies had unraveled our life. She begged for forgiveness, claiming it was a mistake, that she loved me. But her words were hollow, drowned by the memory of her emails. I left her there, driving to my sister's to see Lily. My daughter's laughter was a lifeline, but I knew I'd have to explain soon. That night, I slept in the guest room, Clara's sobs echoing through the house. My phone buzzed with messages, friends, colleagues, even strangers weighing in on the scandal. Vanessa had confronted Mark publicly, their marriage imploding alongside ours. The town was ablaze with gossip, Clara's reputation in ashes. I felt no triumph, only a grim satisfaction. Revenge had been precise, but it left a void. I began planning my next steps. Protecting Lily, securing our finances, and ensuring Clara faced the consequences alone. The life we'd built was gone, and I was its executioner. The days following the festival were a blur of fallout. Clara's pottery business crumbled. Clients canceled orders, galleries dropped her, and her online store was flooded with hateful reviews. The town, once her cheerleader, turned vicious. I heard whispers at the grocery store, saw pointed glances at the office. Clara became a ghost, barely leaving the house. She tried to talk to me, leaving tearful notes on the counter. "Please, let's fix this." I ignored them, my heart hardened. I met with a divorce lawyer, a sharp woman named Diane who mapped out my options. "You've got leverage," she said, citing Clara's infidelity and the public evidence. I nodded, focused on protecting Lily and my assets. Vanessa, meanwhile, was relentless, posting cryptic updates about betrayal that kept the scandal alive. I learned Mark had moved out, his real estate empire wobbling under scrutiny. I felt a flicker of pity for Vanessa, but none for him. Clara's attempts to reach out grew desperate. Calls, texts, even an ambush at my office. "I'll end it with him," she pleaded. "Too late," I said, walking away. I began orchestrating her social exile, subtly encouraging mutual friends to distance themselves. At a PDA meeting, I saw mothers avoid Clara's usual seat. Her world was shrinking, and I ensured it. Lily started asking questions. "Why's mommy sad?" And I deflected, promising answers soon. Each night, I checked the bloggers' updates, the town's judgment feeding my resolve. Clara's betrayal had cost her everything, and I was only beginning. A month after the festival, I delivered the final blow. I'd been meticulous, gathering every piece of evidence, emails, receipts, Paul's reports, and compiled them into a dossier. I didn't just want divorce. I wanted Clara to feel the depth of her loss. I invited her to a neutral space, a quiet cafe outside town, to discuss our future. She arrived haggard, her eyes red, clinging to hope. I slid the dossier across the table. "This is what you did," I said. "And this is what's next." Inside were divorce papers, a custody plan favoring me, and a financial breakdown leaving her with little. I'd frozen joint accounts, redirected assets, and ensured Lily's trust fund was untouchable. Diane had been ruthless, and I'd followed her lead. Clara's hands trembled as she read, her voice breaking. "You're destroying me. You destroyed us," I countered. I told her I'd share the dossier with her family, her remaining friends, even her art mentors, unless she signed the papers without a fight. She stared, defeated, and nodded. That night, I moved out, taking Lily to a new apartment I'd rented. Clara's pottery studio sat untouched, her dreams collecting dust. I heard she tried to contact Mark, but he was gone, his own life in ruins. The town's gossip had cooled, but Clara's name was poison. I felt no joy, only closure. Lily adapted, her resilience my anchor. I'd burned Clara's world to ash, not with fire, but with truth. Revenge was complete, and I was free to rebuild, my scars a reminder of what trust costs. Settling into the apartment with Lily felt like stepping into a half-written book. The space was modest, a two-bedroom with bare walls, but Lily's drawings soon brightened it. She missed Clara, asking when she could see her, and I promised supervised visits, my lawyer's advice echoing in my mind. Clara signed the divorce papers a week after our cafe meeting, her signature shaky but final. I'd won custody, most of our savings, the house, but victory tasted like ash. Work kept me grounded. My law firm partners offered quiet support, their wives less subtle, dropping off casseroles and sympathy. The town's gossip had shifted, Clara's scandal fading as new dramas emerged, but her absence was palpable. I heard she'd moved into a small rental on the edge of town, her pottery will silent. Friends reported seeing her at the grocery store, head down, a shadow of her former self. I felt a pang of something, guilt, maybe, but it passed. My focus was Lily, enrolling her in art classes to fill the void Clara left. I avoided mutual friends, their pity or judgment too heavy. Vanessa reached out once, a terse email thanking me for exposing Mark. I didn't reply, her pain wasn't my burden. Nights were the hardest. Lily's bedtime stories a reminder of the family we'd lost. I started therapy, a gruff counselor named Tom who pushed me to confront my rage. "You got your revenge," he said. "Now what?" I didn't know. Rebuilding felt daunting, but Lily's smile kept me moving forward, one careful step at a time. Months passed, and the divorce finalized, leaving me with the house I no longer wanted. I sold it, the memories too thick, and banked the profit for Lily's future. Clara's name rarely surfaced now, but her downfall lingered in quiet ways. A former client mentioning her tragedy, a pottery shop displaying her old work at a discount. I'd achieved my goal. Her social and professional exile was complete. Yet the victory felt hollow. Tom, my therapist, pressed me to examine why I'd gone so far. "You didn't just want her to hurt," he said. "You wanted her erased." I bristled but couldn't deny it. Late at night, I'd replay the festival, the crowd's gasps, Clara's shattered expression. It wasn't joy I felt then, but power, a fleeting antidote to betrayal. Now, that power was gone, replaced by questions. Had I gone too far? Lily's visits with Clara were brief, supervised by a court-appointed mediator. She'd come back quiet, clutching a small clay figure Clara had made her. "Mommy's sad," she'd say, and I'd change the subject. I learned Clara was working part-time at a bookstore, her art career dead. Mark had left town, his business bankrupt, Vanessa thriving in her new single life. I followed the blogger's updates less, her posts now irrelevant. My life was Lily, work, and the slow task of trusting again. I dated once, a kind teacher named Sarah, but ended it. The wounds were too fresh. Revenge had cleared the path, but walking it was my burden. One Saturday, while shopping for Lily's school supplies, I saw Clara. She was in the stationery aisle, thinner, her hair pulled back, scanning notebooks. Our eyes met and time froze. She looked like a stranger, the vibrant woman I'd loved replaced by someone fragile, worn. I nodded, polite but distant, and turned to leave. "Wait," she called, her voice soft. Against my better judgment, I stopped. She approached, clutching a pack of pens like a shield. "I'm sorry," she said, eyes down. "I know it's too late, but I need you to hear it." I stood silent, my chest tight. She spoke of her regret, how Mark had been a mistake, how she'd lost herself. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said. I wanted to believe her, but the dossier, the emails, her lies loomed large. "You didn't just hurt me," I said. "You broke Lily's world." Her face crumpled, but I felt no urge to comfort her. I walked away, her apology echoing. That night, I told Tom about it, expecting his usual probing. Instead, he asked, "What do you want for her now?" I didn't know. Revenge had been my compass, but its needle was still. Clara's words stirred something, not forgiveness, but a faint wish for her to find peace, if only for Lily's sake. I focused on my daughter, her laughter my anchor. The encounter lingered, a crack in my armor, but I wasn't ready to let it widen. Lily's 9th birthday brought unexpected clarity. I threw a small party at the apartment, her friends giggling over cake, my sister helping with games. Clara sent a gift, a hand-painted pottery bowl, delicate and precise, with a note, "For my girl." Lily beamed, tracing the patterns, and I saw Clara's talent, undimmed by her fall. It hit me then. My revenge hadn't erased her, not entirely. She was still Lily's mother, still an artist, despite everything. I didn't invite her to the party. Boundaries held firm, but I let Lily call her, their brief chat full of shy love. After, Lily asked if Clara could visit more. I hesitated, then promised to talk to the mediator. Tom called it progress, but it felt like surrender. The ripple effect of my actions was clearer now. My revenge had punished Clara, but it also shaped Lily's world, her trust in love. I began softening, not for Clara, but for my daughter. At work, I took on pro bono cases, channeling my energy into helping others. Sarah, the teacher, reappeared at a school event, and we talked, her warmth disarming. I didn't date her, but the conversation felt like a step. Clara's bookstore job became permanent, I heard, and she'd started teaching pottery to kids. The town's judgment had eased, her scandal old news. I didn't resent her small recovery. It was separate from me now. My life was Lily's future, my own healing, and the faint hope of something new. A year after the festival, I stood at a crossroads. Lily was thriving, her art classes a joy, her bond with Clara carefully rebuilding under supervision. I'd leased a bigger apartment, its walls now warm with photos and memories we were making. Work was steady, my reputation intact, even strengthened by the quiet respect I'd earned. Clara existed on the periphery, a name in Lily's stories, a figure I no longer hated. Tom helped me see that revenge had been my way of reclaiming control, but freedom came from letting go. I stopped checking the bloggers' posts, unfollowed local gossip threads. Sarah invited me for coffee, and this time I said yes, her laugh a tentative bridge to possibility. One evening, Lily showed me a drawing. A family, 3 figures holding hands. "It's us," she said, pointing to her, me and Clara. I didn't correct her. She deserved that dream. I met Clara at the mediator's office to discuss visitation, her eyes meeting mine with quiet gratitude. "Thank you," she said, "for letting her see Lily." I nodded, no warmth but no venom. My revenge had been cruel, precise, but it hadn't defined me. I'd burned her world, yes, but I'd also rebuilt mine. The weight of betrayal was gone, replaced by something lighter, hope, maybe, or just the freedom to move forward. Lily's hand in mine was enough, her future my purpose, and I was ready for whatever came next.